Can I position? Yeah, it's positioned alright. What I'm looking like now, probably just terrible. Oh man. Hi my dudes. I'm at Row Tor today. Been a long time since I got a vlog of any sort done, and it's hard to get peace and quiet, and it's hard to get to a place that's away from people. Actually, in the Row Tor car park, it's actually chock full of other cars. Most of them are empty though, so people have gone walking. There's a couple of cars. There's some people in a couple of cars down from me, which is a bit annoying. Yeah, it's hard to find a parking space where like you're the sole occupant, so you can get on with your own stuff, sort of thing, and think. And there's a crane fly just outside my window, which you might see. I don't know. And various tiny flies on the front. And there's so much to talk about, and I can't get in the mood for talking about it. I've only had a short work shift today, but I already feel a bit tired and my eyes feel a bit heavy, like I'm sleepy or some shit. So again, it's not the best time to do this, and I can't find the best time to do this because it seems that wherever I go, wherever I park up, wherever I, get out and place a seat or something, except for that one time up on the staple tools where I stuck a seat up there and I got sunburnt to fuck, by the way, when that happened on my arms. What was I talking about then? Elections? Yeah. Apart from that time, it's been very difficult to find a moment. And when I was up near Bellevator, I suppose I did a little vlog there about love advocacy stuff. But it's hard to find a time and place where you're left alone, Gadsden flag don't tread on me style, you're left alone. Man, I just want to grill, I just want to mow. People leave you alone to do your own thing for a bit, so you get some peace to be with your own thoughts and access them. Especially memories and thoughts you've been working through in your head. And it also doesn't help that I've been in this new dumbass retail job, which I'm at almost every day. I think I get like 2 days off a week essentially, so I'm in every day except for 2 days. And it's like retail work, it just makes it very hard to concentrate on other things. Especially it's a normie environment, it's a highly controlled authoritarian environment. You're also blasted by fucking normie pop music, like on their 20 song playlist, over and over again, repeated, going into your head. And the people you serve and the people you work with have weird ideas you got to put up with that aren't me. They're nothing to do with me. It's hard to preserve your sense of self when you're in a place like that so often, and you don't get a chance while you're there to express yourself, and you don't get enough of a chance to express yourself outside work either, because you're like sleeping or trying to get a meal. Or with me, I've been driving places, and the driving has not resulted in vlogs or anything, or videos, or thinking things. Or when you're driving, you want to capture a thought, but you're driving, so you got to pay attention to the road. You come up with a nice thought. Okay, I want to express this to people. This thought, I've seen something cool. I want to tell people. You can't tell anyone because you got to concentrate on the road. You probably, and I end up just forgetting it by the time I get home, and then half remembering it later. So there's tons of vlog topics I wanted to get through, and I just haven't been able to, and it's really annoying. The vlog topic for this vlog is just Catchup, and I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to fully encapsulate that either. There's been so much happening, and God, I want to cover it all and express myself that you get those daily, not vloggers, but daily video makers, like sort of newscasters, sort of culture war, social justice, against social justice, commentators. I guess I used to be a part of. I'd like to still be a part of, but I just don't have the time to make videos and stuff like this, or like that. And they get a chance, I think, because they're paid to do it. Essentially, they don't have a real job. Video makers like them don't have a real job. Their job is making videos and just hoping that people will give them some loot on their Patreon. Probably not Patreon, on the subscribe star accounts and stuff. I wouldn't mind doing that, but, you know, people aren't so interested in what I have to say, and I don't actually have enough time to fully express to you and put together what I want to actually say. I'm a freedom guy, I'm an ANCAP, I'm a libertarian. There's 1,001 things every day that I want to comment on from the standpoint of my ideology, and in the end I just think those things. I don't actually get to say them out loud. I don't have any buddies who are fully inclined that way. I've just got acquaintances here and there, and so I don't get a chance to really talk about my views unless I'm doing it on camera like this, and then hopefully someone in the comments will chime in if they find what I'm saying interesting, or if they agree, or that if they have something interesting to say to add to what I've been saying. But yeah, I don't have enough time. You know, I wanted to flesh out elevatism, which is just, I guess, my streak of ANCAP, anarchism, libertarianism, mixture. But I don't get enough time to describe that to you, my dudes, so it just kind of flashes through here and there. You can watch all my old live streams, my gaming live streams during the lockdown era, where you can just see me sort of going nuts, being driven nuts by realising just how evil the government is and how trapped we all are, and just, yeah, it was like developing then. And yeah, I know exactly what I think, and it's like an ideology that I've settled into now, and I'm just like, this is the way forward, this is the way people should be thinking. And part of my problem is I just don't have enough time. I'm not in a good place to express myself and talk about that stuff enough. Other than I log into Twitter and I've been arguing with people for years on Twitter, as everyone is, and it's kind of meaningless when you argue with each other on Twitter. I use it more comedically now and more entertainment-wise than I do for political arguments, but, you know, I still join in with the political arguments when I can. And there are a bunch of interesting people. Let's not say pure ideology libertarians or anarchists, because a lot of anarchists and libertarians accidentally stray into just conservative posting every now and then, and they don't realise they're doing it, and they don't necessarily realise that conservatives, I can't speak, conservatives are statists like the left are, and so, you know, going to the right or going to the left is not the way forward. And we've got our own thing now. Like the centre, the libertarians and the anarchists, they have their own thing that is completely different from conservatism. So why the hell do we keep slipping into, or why does some people who identify that way, not as an identity politics movement, but just, you know, who call themselves anarchists because they follow freedom, why are we slipping into all this conservative talk all the time? Because the conservatives obviously have their own buzzwords, just like the far left do, and people aren't picking up on it and noticing it enough. I think I can bring up one now, when they say like fighting age men. What's some other ones? Well, they bang on about paedophilia over and over again forever, as if everyone's a paedophile and like all the people who aren't paedophiles are paedophiles and all this shit. So they're constantly like looking for demons in the shadows, and they just call adults in consensual relationships with each other paedophiles. For like, if there's like a 20-year-old woman dating a 30-year-old man, they'll slap that label on that and stuff. Now, oh my god, there's like a horde on Row Tor. What the hell? There's like a I'm looking at Row Tor out the window, and there's like, let's say people mainly wearing pink are streaming down the mountainside. I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's like a breast cancer walk or something. There's like, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 people in a queue coming off the hill. Don't know what the fuck that's about. What was I talking about? See, that's the sort of distraction that is what I'm trying to avoid, because I can't vlog, especially about controversy. trying to blog about controversial topics in the normie sphere when there are normies around you. It's just like they don't understand. You can't make them understand. They got their head glued into televisions and newspapers daily, pumped full of bullshit that you just start talking and it's like an alien is in the room with them and they're like, oh my god, what? People are saying what? So yeah, it's quite distracting trying to vlog when there are normies around. Don't like doing it. But anyway, I think the cars are evacuated at the moment around me for now. Until these pink people get off the hill in their big stream, I hope they're not walking past my car to get to where they're going. They're going to be off in a minute. Jesus. Conservatives. What are the other conservatives? There are so many conservative buzzwords. That's probably a topic vlog video anyway that I gotta get done. It's, you know, conservatives. That's one video topic on my list to get done. I think the first video topic I wanted to get done, which I haven't got done, is my thoughts on the fake wars. You got the Israel-Palestine war and you got the Ukraine-Russia war. These WEF engineered bullshit wars. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to do a vlog about that. It's not going to be this vlog, that's for sure. It's not going to be this video. But yeah, there's a series of topic vlogs and stuff that I want to flesh out. I think anyone who's been looking at my channel regularly probably have a... if there's anyone even slightly doing that, they'll have a look at my front page and go, oh, Penny fan, fail. You must... You must have just given up the channel after that video. It's like, no, I've got like 3 unedited videos. This is like a 4th unedited video. They're all sitting on the back burner, just waiting for me to get some fucking chance to edit them. I got a Team Mom review video and a couple of smaller bits. I went bodyboarding the other day. I mean, couldn't film any of it, obviously, but I had a little debrief with that. And I've got another one. I can't remember what the other one is. The brief one from where I went out somewhere. Yeah, it's just like, you're probably going to see this video late as well. I'm just finding the fucking time to edit things, as well as film things, as well as even just have a moment to be with my own thoughts and work out like what I'm doing in life and what to think about. At the moment, I'm just a consensual wage slave, I guess. I'm just like, I'm working in the business that is my new job after Capers, my new job after my parents' family business that they closed down on me and all that. And I'm just trying to stay on top of it. I don't want to lose it because it'll just mean losing the money that I need to live. And I am just slowly building up my funds once again that I lost to try and get to the point where A, I have the money to rent out a flat, and B, probably, I've been thinking I have the money to try again, start my own business, my own little retail business, my own shop sort of thing. And if not that, then I'll jump between businesses, whoever will employ me. I can't rely on the family business anymore. I don't think I should have been in that position anyway. You should really get, if you're like a kid or something and you're growing up, the only way to survive in this world, really, I think, is to get a job at age 16 and just never stop working. And I didn't have that chance, so I am visibly poorer than most of the people around me. That's the way it is. I don't think we needed to be in this situation, of course. I think a lot of that has been because of government actions in the recent years. And a lot of us would be just far, far richer without government. But what can you do? The time for removing government was 2020 and people didn't act. They put up a fair fight, but they didn't put up a big enough fight, to be fair. And now we're kind of trapped until the next something comes along that we can reel against. And then maybe people put more effort into it, but people are so dependent and they need to get Spartan and uncomfortable, and they're not willing to do that. So that's where I am. That's part of where I am at the moment. Again, there's a lot of stuff I even wanted to put in this catch-up vlog that is eluding my mind right now. I can't quieten down my mind. I can't bring those things to the forefront of my mind. Something about, I don't know, just being in certain places, especially surrounded by normies, where you can't get your mind clear or break through the I like to call it brain fog or mind fog. You can't cut through that. You ever have that thing where you want to connect with your own thoughts and you can't access them, or you can't access your memories, and you can't access the clarity of thought you need that you know that you've had in the past to think through a situation. And people say that they can think clearer in the shower in the mornings, singing in the shower, and sometimes I've been able to think clearer like on a bright winter's day or something, like on the bus, or there are just certain places, like say a library in like a skyscraper type environment where you're high up and you have a bit of a view and you can just sit in a comfy seat and it's mostly quiet around you and clean, and you know no one's going to bother you during a certain time period. In those sorts of environments, and the sunlight's like bright sunlight helps clarify my mind. There are just some situations you get that cut through the brain fog and you're like, oh man, I am intelligent, I do have a mind, I can think. It's just that most of the time life is blocking access to my thoughts, like different conditions and temperature and people and systems of control and stuff are blocking your access to your own thoughts. That is certainly a thing that happens that people don't acknowledge. Now there's some people 2 doors down from me that are making a whole lot of noise, so I will pause. Here's my view, by the way. Row Tor's just up there on the left. You can sort of see the amount of cars around. Some have just driven off though, so I can continue. Now there's a guy slowly walking out in front of my car across a field, which is also very distracting. I'm going to try and access some of my thoughts if I can. What was my last vlog or something? Maybe I can access... Can I access fucking YouTube from here? Probably not. I don't know where the nearest transmitter is. I don't know what my last... I mean, obviously I went to Pennyfan. But that's not my last vlog kind of video. Oh, new phone case, by the way. So when I was at Pennyfan, this is my new phone case. My old phone case, which was a brown leather one. The harsh elements just ripped it to shreds. I don't know how. I think it's a mixture of getting soaked in the bag by all the rain and the intense wind maybe had something to do with it. Shaking the bag around. Nah, it must have mainly got soaked. Anyway, it just disintegrated when I looked at it after that walk. So it was just like hanging in my hand, like fall into moist shreds. I'm like, oh my god. Something else broke as well when I was up there. What was it? The bag stayed intact. My trusty bag. I have found a new bag to replace this. This is my trusty bag. I love this bag. I bought this in 2006. Second year of uni in Bristol from some Tesco, but it was like a camping section in the Tesco. It was very odd. I've never seen it since. And I don't know what brand it is, but it is the most trusty bag I've ever had. Perfect dimensions, perfect material. And I've been looking for a replacement for that because it's kind of like falling apart. I don't know if you can see, there's like stitching. There's like really bad stitching I've made to try and repair it. So, like, I've been looking for a replacement for ages, and it's very difficult bag to replace because it is a really good bag. It may not look it, it's like the perfect bag. I went to Launceston the other day. I was buying one of my co-workers a present. Hopefully they appreciated it. It was their birthday. I found a bag in a camping store called Go Outdoors, which is incredibly overpriced camping store. Like, most of the products in there were just like ridiculously priced, and I wouldn't want to go shopping there very often at all, to be honest. Yeah, each product was way more money than it should have been by rights. It's like trying to do your shopping in Waitrose all the time. You can't do that because it's like a ridiculously overpriced supermarket. That's why you go to somewhere else like Tesco's or Lidl or Morrison's or something. Anyway, I found a bag in that shop that was more the material that's similar to that. It was a dumb blue colour with like dumb kind of sprinkly, colourful motifs on the front, which is just about bearable. I mean, I could sew some stuff onto it. And I've been practicing my sewing to repair various things. Obviously, that's a bit of shit. Oh, the sun's coming out a little bit. And yeah, I bought this bag, which is a blue boxy. It's like a cool box bag. And I had to remove the foam from inside, and I had to sew on some straps, and I have to sew on some more straps later, and sew on a Velcro patch I'm gonna do. So I'm like, because it's not like the perfect bag that I've got here, I'm retrofitting it, I'm creating it, I'm changing what it was when I bought it into something nearer the bag I've got, since I can't find or buy this perfect bag. Anyone know what this brand is? What is this brand? There's the icon for it. See, it's not a named brand, it just has that icon. If I knew what that icon was, maybe I could go in their back catalogue and try and find this bag and buy like 10 of them for the future, so it'll last me the rest of my life. Seriously, I don't know, it's the perfect bag. Anyway, it's just been quite fun messing around with a needle and thread and trying to make things work. I also went bodyboarding the other day. I probably talk about the bodyboarding fiasco in that video, so I won't go into it too much, other than I tried to buy some more flippers because of the bodyboarding flippers that broke on me, that snapped, and it really hurt my ankles. It was like some really thick flippers, quite hard to maneuver in the sea, and it hurt my ankles a lot. And yeah, once I took them off, it was fun, but while I had them on, it wasn't very fun session. What else have I been doing today? I was trying to open this up, actually. Trying to access YouTube via my phone. I'm on it, but God, I hate the layout. What's the phone? The phone layout of YouTube is awful. How do I get to my gallery? View channel. How do I get to my own video gallery with all the videos? Oh, here we go. Is this it? Okay, it's loading very slow. I don't know if we have a transmitter in the area. It's loading very slow. There's the Destrus 1000 channel, my dudes. On mobile format. It looks so weird on mobile format. It's not how you're meant to see it. You're meant to see it on a PC, by the way. Optimum viewing for my channel and my stuff. I haven't been able to do much art lately. I've been talking to a friend I met who lives in Canada. I'm just not getting much chances to talk to her, but she's like the nearest thing to a best friend I have at the moment. And she's an artist as well. Penny fan failed, Dunkery Beacon Export, Fishcombe Water Rocks. When was the last time I vlogged? Homing Beam, I think? God, it's getting a bit noisy out here again. Row Tor looks nice from this angle. Getting some sun up there. Yeah, so I went to the Quantox and then came back from the Quantox, went to Farnford Rocks. A trip to Bude at Middle Beach. That was probably my best bodyboarding this year. I'm glad this year to have got out bodyboarding like 4 times, 5 times, something like that, in different places. So not just Bude, but I did some at Bigbury, and I did some somewhere else. Oh, at Hale? I swam at Hale. I didn't get to bodyboard, I think. Yeah, but I'm glad I've been able to get into the sea a lot more this year, even though it's been a crap summer. Yeah, the last time I did a vlog was Homing Beam, where I was just airing out my tent from the Quantox, and the weather was just fucking with me. That was when that Authie had a go at me for parking my car in a weird place. The thing is, I was saying at the time, hey, my boss sides with me on this issue, and she didn't fully side with me. At the end, she was just like, okay, can we do some sort of compromise where, if there are cars parked on one side of the road when you arrive, park on that side of the road, and only park past this tree thing. There's just some weird compromise thing she did. I've since then found out on a few occasions that she's quite authoritarian. It's like some of these leftist authors you get, where they're very they have this facade of kindness, and sometimes they're aware of their authoritarianism, and sometimes, in this case with my manager, I think she's not aware of her authoritarianism. But if I brought it up to her or told her about it, I think she'd reel back against it, and she'd probably try and fire me or something if I push back against what she was saying, which is basically that she bans people from the shop for speech. Customers I'm talking about. So if you come in the shop and you're considered rude, she can ban you from the shop. Therefore, you can't do your shopping there. Therefore, you can't eat food. That's just one less place in the world where you can buy food to eat from. How fucking insane is that? If you just say any word that some random shop manager considers to be rude, then they can ban you from eating and buying produce to eat and live your life because they don't like they disagree with how you said something or how something sounded, or that something you said was political while you're in there, or that you disagreed with another staff member when you were in conversation with them when you're in the shop, or something like that. That's my manager. And she thinks I'm sure in her head she thinks it's somehow a good thing. She thinks she's being kind. She thinks it's good. Also in this like Facebook group chat thing that we have to use to find out when deliveries are and all this nonsense. She did the same thing there. Like she said, I will delete any comment I think is a bit snarky or rude or mean or something. I'm like, I'm just fighting the urge at that point when I see her say that. I'm just fighting the urge to say, who defines it? Who defines that? You define that? What makes you so special to define that, other than, you've been put in a manager position in this shop under the CEO and stuff? Sure, a business can do what it wants on its own property or whatever, but a lot of the stuff that people do to censor and all this is because of government regulations and things. Don't get me started on the word safety. But yeah, she's like, I will delete your messages if I think that something you've said is a bit rude or a bit mean or a bit snarky. Like full on delete. Like, well, what are we using the group for if we can't? Alright, we're not allowed to say anything now. Or we're only allowed to say things in really tight, constricted boundaries, and we got to work out what those are. And the things I've seen in the group that have been said, like, no one's actually said anything rude or mean or snarky. They've just talked from their point of view. And she's like, alright, it's getting too much. I'm going to start banning people and deleting their content. Like, what are you talking about? I was putting a bit of a voice on there. I don't know what that was. That's not her voice. She's very soft-spoken and kind. She's very kind of, I don't know, she appears when you're talking to her to be very diplomatic and trying to be like a people pleaser to everyone, but I don't know if I think she's just blind to the harm that she does with, like I said, you're going to ban someone from access to food because of something they said when they came in the shop. And it's not even very capitalistic. Again, that's another thing that makes it against me, is like, if you want to be a good businessman and make money, you've got to be able to sell to your enemies. You got to sell your products to a broad audience, which means you not only, and I've battled with this in my mind in the past, but yeah, you not only sell to people you like and customers who do well by you, but you have to sell to customers you don't like, who seem to do bad things, because you get money from everyone then. There's money from the dumb is a phrase that I've used in the past. You just have to come to peace with the fact that you're not only making money by letting good people on your premises, but you're making money off the bad people as well. So a good capitalist will sell communist flags to a communist. That's just how it is. It's like, but why would you ban symbols? It's like a good capitalist sells bad things to bad people, those things that those people want. I mean, up to a point. No, it's not even up to a point. I mean, you're making money, you gotta sell things to your enemies. I guess it comes to the point where, do you want to sell your enemy a weapon that can be used against you? I mean, yes. Yeah. I mean, yes. Yeah, you do, because if I put my 2A hat on, Everyone should be armed. The poor should be armed, the mentally disabled should be armed. Like, every person on earth has a right to a gun. Like the great equalizer. How does a disabled wheelchair granny stop a massive muscly bodybuilding burglar? Well, if they both have a gun, then it doesn't really matter that one's disabled and in a wheelchair and one's a big muscly bodybuilder, does it? Because they're both on the same footing as each other now. It's the great equalizer. As much as I hate equality, it requires the granny to have training, I suppose. It requires the granny to have good reflexes and training with the weapon. And you could still say that the bodybuilder guy has the upper hand when they're both armed, but it brings them up closer, you know? It doesn't bring them like that, but it brings them up to that level. So the granny has more of a chance of defending her property from this clear property violator if they're armed. So yeah, would I sell weapons to my enemy that could be used to harm me for the money? Probably yes. If I'm in my capitalist mindset, yes. Principally, yes. Let's have a look around. I'll show you. I can't point the camera that way because there's a kid playing, and you know how people get, like conservatives and all that. Even if it's just like you're filming a landscape and some child just enters frame from the left and you don't see them, it's like, oh my god, beautiful. That's a whole video, and it's very difficult to go into controversial topics, isn't it? There was a paedophile scare in Britain around 1991 or something, and I feel like the Conservatives of this day have revived that, and they brought it to America too. So now it's like a second craze, a second hyped up infection period of paranoia about pedos that has happened. And the previous one was in 1991-ish, you know, Brass Eye? That came out of that era. And I remember it, and it's just, it just puts off the innocent people from wanting to engage with kids or have kids of their own, because you get to a point where the hysteria is so great that, like, let's say a middle-aged man just walks past a play park or a school, and then there's just like conservatives, and I don't know if the leftist would react in the same way, probably not, because is it true, the whole thing? Like, I don't think it's necessarily true. It's part of the hysteria from conservatives that every leftist is a pedo, and I don't think that is the case. If you're going to attack the left, attack them along the lines of what they actually are, like fucking socialists, property violators. They are insane, they are dangerous, they need to be stopped, but are they all pedos? No. That's the hysteria. Like, yeah, if a middle-aged man just minding his own business walks through a city and he happens to walk past a play park, he gets odd stares and looks from like mothers and fathers and conservatives and the like for just basically existing and living his life in a place where something triggers a thought in their mind that isn't true. And I've been watching Biggest Problem and like Biggest Problem podcast with Dick Masterson and Vito Giswaldi, and Vito Giswaldi catches a load of shit from conservatives who think he's like a pedo when he never has been, never will be, and that's like one of these false allegation things. It's like Me Too all over again. You know, the feminists create this thing called the Me Too movement, which is basically just a shit ton of false allegations dogpiled on from thousands of people to just men in general, I think. And that reminds me of the YouTube guy, Nerimon. You look into Alex Day, who was Nerimon on YouTube. He caught a whole shitload of false rape allegations, and that basically destroyed his entire YouTube career, and he's nowhere to be found now. And it's just a fucking sickness at this point. And it's hard to go against because it's one of those controversial topics, but I really think we should be going hard against people who destroy people's lives when they're clearly innocent of the charges. So if you go saying that shit to people, have evidence. Please have fucking evidence, because that is bullshit. It's not like it's also the feminist polluting the just women's mindset with words like creepy and stuff that demonizes men for just like existing and like flirting or giving compliments or trying to find love. So yeah, feminists have done a lot. They have a lot to answer for the destruction of 20th century love. More about 20th century love in my first love advocacy video when I was on Belavator at a random style. You can go and watch that on my channel. I can probably show you the thumbnail for it now, actually. Well, the thumbnail's not loading at the moment. Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the thumbnail. That's what it looks like. My first video on important topic, love advocacy. Yeah, that's a that's a big topic to cover. I've only just done a fragment of it, but you can check that out. That's a starter for you. Another thing I've wanted to talk about on video, which I haven't had time for, again, probably requires its own video to be honest, is more property rights stuff, ANCAP property rights, libertarianism, in reference to land and in reference to national parks. I guess I could be a continue of the Dartmoor World Camping ban subject, which I've done a few videos on. So it's been scattered through like 3 videos of mine following the Dartmoor World Camping ban thing. My friend Max Piper, who is a very well known and kind of a popular figure in terms of the geography of Dartmoor. If you ever want to find out what tours to go to on Dartmoor, then you've probably bumped into some of Max Piper's maps and things while you're like searching the internet for places to go. Anyway, yeah, I have him as a Facebook friend and on Instagram and on YouTube, I think. And a lot of his friends and a lot of what he believes, although to his credit, he's quite non-political in a way. He's very good at being diplomatic and staying politically neutral between people he talks to, but it's clear what politics he comes down on, even though I don't think he fully understands the ramifications of it, other than the land rights of Dartmoor. Anyway, the thing I wanted to make a video about and talk about is the right to roam, and what that means in terms of public access on private land and things, and how the state comes into that, and the Crow Act, I think it is, and also the trespassing of a bunch of communists in the past on land. I think it was in not in Yorkshire. What's the national park nearest Manchester? The Peak District. It may have been the Peak District. Something beginning with K. Kinder Scout. That's the one, isn't it? So a bunch of commies trespassed on Kinder Scout against the wishes of landowners there, so that the government could hand them some sort of, by use of force against the landowners who own their own land. The government allowed like people to essentially break into people's back gardens. Break into lands of rich landowners against their permission and consent, which is an entirely socialist and communistic thing to do, and is completely wrong in my opinion. But, you know, their arguments are that if that hadn't happened, you wouldn't have national parks and you wouldn't have permissive footpaths. Although I don't think that's accurate. I'm going to have to do some digging and look into it. But I have a feeling that when you look on the Ordnance Survey maps and things, all the public footpaths and things that are laid on the ground stem from a time before the Crow Act and the trespass on Kinder Scout. Like, I think a lot of those routes and public footpaths existed way before anything like that took place. Either way, yeah, Max's friends. I had a big debate on Facebook with some of Max's friends who were clearly full-on leftists, whether they knew it or not. A lot of them knew it, a lot of them didn't know it, and they didn't understand what they were arguing for, and they hadn't ever heard the arguments from the other side against it, so I just kind of spammed them with 1,001 ANCAP arguments. One of the guys was absolutely hilarious. He's like, "Oh, if you hate this thing about socialism, then that must mean, well, you probably hate all these other things about socialism." And he brought up a bunch of things thinking I'd be sympathetic and thinking these things would be normal to me. And I was just like, no, I've always been against those things. It's like when a socialist goes, well, you must be against seatbelts then, or you must be against national health, or it's like they bring up all these things that they think that you go and have second thoughts about and go, oh no, actually, I wouldn't say that. I actually really enjoy those things. And you're like, no, I've always been against those things. Like, how could you hate taxes? Taxes provide a beneficial service to the public. And like, no. No, they do not. That is not true. Anyway, that was absolutely hilarious. Again, things I'd like to flesh out in videos where I can actually focus on the subject, but just not enough time. But yeah, I thought it's worth bringing up here just to gloss over lightly, because I haven't had much chances to just talk like this to you guys on YouTube. Whether you're into this or not, I don't know, but I really need that kind of area to vent and express myself when the world is so insane, and that's what YouTube is for me, and that's what Twitter is for me, and 101 anti-free speech platforms where you can just squeeze out a little bit of your free speech, but they'll try and clamp down on them if you go slightly too far, which I go as far as I can on some of the platforms. You can't go very far on Instagram. Actually, you can go further on Instagram than I thought. They ban you for weird things. Some of these social sites, they ban you and suspend you for fucking weird things that you're not actually expecting. I mean, you can say some things that you couldn't say in public because the police would show up at your door. The speech police, I should fucking call them these days. You can say things, although it turns out you can't always say those things on social networks, but it kind of depends on your public profile and your popularity, and it also depends on where, like there's like a geography to somewhere like Twitter. It may just seem like a website where you post stuff, but if you post stuff where certain political people can see it, it's kind of like a location. It really is. It's like, in my mind, it's like if you post something on leftist Twitter in front of 3 leftist people, that's kind of like an island in the east. And if you post something in ANCAP libertarian Twitter, that's like some island in the west. And then there's like a big continent of conservatives up there who are culture war arguing, and down here you've got a big separate continent of normies who are like trying to message the Prime Minister on his public account and just posting endless mainstream media newspaper articles to each other and commenting on it, and their minds are just like indoctrinated to statism and they have really bizarre concerns. And in my mind it's just like this strange overlaid geographical thing, like these are places, and if you go into one place like the leftist place, you could kick the hornet's nest there and you could say some slur and the police would show up at your door or something, or they'd try to get you fired from your job. But if you say the same thing in a place where there's mostly ANCAPs listening, literally nothing will happen to you at all. and everyone's just fine with it, and everyone's saying similar things to you, and like the leftists over there don't notice, even though you're on the same website and platform, and the police don't launch an investigation into you, and like the leftists are all in like celebrity actor land and things, and Trump derangement syndrome land. It's so weird. I've always, like in the past, thought of the internet and how it echoes real life geography and systems like that, like forums. You know those internet message board kind of forums? They always struck me as being like a Greek amphitheater sort of thing, where if one person's talking, they're down in the center of the amphitheater and everyone's in the circular seats on the terraces that go like there's a complete circle surround, and they're all listening in from higher up to the person. There's all these things like that strike me about the internet, how you talk to people. There's like a version of that. I'm sure there's a part of the internet that's like there's confession rooms in, is it the Catholic Church? I think it's the Catholic Church. You go into priest confession where there's a priest in a room ready to hear your sins, and he just listens, and the booth next to him is vacant, and then the person steps in and goes like, "Forgive me, Father, I have sinned," and then lists the rules he's broken in the kind of Bible principles to the priest, and the priest just kind of nods and listens and says, was it 3 Hail Marys and do this and do that and repent for your sins or whatever. I bet there's there's probably a place on the internet that echoes that, and then there's like a place on the internet that's like a bus stop, and then there's probably a place on the internet that's like being on holiday, being in a crowd, another place that's like being in private. All these different, it's weird how you can, it's not just imagined geography, it just like the way you interact with people is very similar to a real world scenario if you think about it. And it's all to do with systems and what barriers are in place and where you're allowed to say things and how people react to those things that you're saying and stuff like that. Anyway, that's going to be a fairly big video now. It's a little catch-up video. I don't think I've covered everything. I haven't covered everything I wanted to catch you up on. Obviously I don't know when this is going to happen next, but hopefully I can try and find some time through the autumn to do some vlogs, and through the winter to do some vlogs. I do have a 2-week break. My first 2 week, it's a paid holiday. Again, paid holiday is a bizarre concept to me, but I'll go into that some other time. I have that at the start of October, so I might travel somewhere a couple times. I might make a video there. I might try and get some vlogs done then. So fingers crossed I find some clarity and you'll hear from me again. But for now, from Row Tor on Dartmoor, thanks for listening. Catch you all later, folks.